Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Muse Hifi Power, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank HifiGo for providing the Muse Hifi Power for a review. Do greatly appreciate it. HifiGo, you rock. Alright, so the Muse Hifi Power. 14.5 millimeter nanometer flat diaphragm planar. And you can get it for $200 from HifiGo. Has 32 ohms of impedance, 106 decibels of sensitivity, and a frequency response of 10 Hz to 40 kilohertz. Uses an exclusive from Muse Hifi, which is a correction technology, which is for physical space correction of airflow. And then it also uses 3D printed shells that are designed in collaboration with HifiGo. Muse Hifi claims that it has a balanced and transparent sound tuning. I have a very unique and interesting statement here. It says, pursue the ultimate in the ultimate, find the simplicity in the simple. Taking off the lid of the very simple unboxing, and you get the statement again with a little bit of branding. You're going to lift the magnetic lid, and you're going to get a very small unboxing experience, which is nice. You get the pretty standard carrying case with the magnetic lid, a little bit of branding on the front, and then you get 2 cases of tips, and they're all silicone. You get red, black, transparent, and yellow. And they do alter sounds just a little bit. I found that a couple of them added in a little bit more bass, made things a little too thick and warm, and then others made them super bright. Found that the yellow ones were a little bit more of to my liking, just not just because of the fit, but also because of the tuning. It kind of balanced it out just a little bit. And then you also get your Muse Hifi Power. Very interesting design with like the faceplate that's kind of a goldish yellow sand. I kind of like it. And then you have rose gold and these massively huge shells. The Muse Hifi Power is one of the largest shells that I have come across. It is insanely big, and it barely fit in my ears. I usually do not have a problem with IEMs fitting in my ears, but these did they pushed the limit. I like the design of them. The faceplate's kind of cool, kind of very unique. You don't see that too often, but there are some problems with it. Number one, it has a really large wing. Number two, it's kind of a shorter nozzle with a bad angle. And as I said, they are super, super big. They do connect with 2-pin connections, and the cable is nice. It's a fabric build. But I also have a few issues with that. Number one, the ear hook itself is a little bit aggressive. Number two, this part here where the connector is metal and it's rounded. It's nice that they color coded it with red and blue, but the problem is metal in your ear do not go very well, at least especially for me, and especially when it's as tall as that. I wish that they had gone with a plastic or a smaller type of metal design casing that was a little bit smaller. So overall, the fit and comfort. Stick it in your ear. You really have to wiggle it around to get that wingtip to go in my ear. And then that ear hook and the 2-pin connector hit me in the wrong spot right here at the top of my ear, and it just presses. So there's a problem there. And then that wingtip just presses in the ear. And it's somewhat of a shorter nozzle, so it doesn't fit exactly, snugly. The best tip that I found were those yellow stem ones. I was able to get a seal, but these are not very comfortable, especially on my left ear. My left ear is always a little bit more sensitive to fit than on my right. I found that after 5 minutes of using them, my ears are going, these are not comfortable. After about 30 minutes, my ears were saying, get these out and get them out right now. These are not comfortable IEMs whatsoever for me. I did struggle with that. But I found something that kind of works, and that is replacing the cable. I found that using either the drop 2-pin cables worked, and the reason for it is a whole lot smaller of a connector at the 2-pin and ear hooks that are not near as aggressive, and it just didn't pull on my ear, didn't press down on my ears, and I really did enjoy the copper cable from drop with the Muse Hifi Powers instead of the stock one. Stock one is built well. It's just not my fave for this pairing. I like the color of it though. It's kind of cool. It's got like this yellowish hint that goes along with the faceplate. They did a good job matching that up and making it look cool. Unfortunately, it just doesn't fit me and work well. Also, I did not hear any sonic difference with the drop 2-pin cables. It was just all for aesthetics and for fit and comfort. Tip-wise, as I mentioned, I use the yellow-green tips, and those work very well. I did have to go with small just so I could fit the IEM itself into my ear canal a little bit better. But that wingtip is just too big, and that nozzle is a little too short, and the shell is way too thick. All right, so design, cool. Design for the overall fit of it, not so cool. The fit and comfort of it, way not cool. So, yeah, not off to the greatest start. How do they sound? The Muse Hifi Power. Now, Muse claims that they have a balanced, transparent sound tuning. And the bass of the Muse Hifi Power is fun. It's engaging. You get a nice, good bit of impact. Sub bass could have just a little bit more to it, but it's not bad. You do get enough of a rumble and a grumble down there, and you get some texture, which is a nice touch. But I do wish I had just a little bit more. It doesn't extend super deep, but what you do get is a nice amount. Most of the bass is in the mid bass presence, and you have a good amount of impact. There's some to it, and it has a nice thumpiness, and it gets the toes tapping. It has a good amount of details, and resolution is all right. It doesn't get confused, it doesn't get muddled up, and it does a good job of staying controlled. Tone is okay. Overall, I like the bass. It's a fun, engaging bass. Mids. The mids are somewhat recessed in the lower mids and in the main mids. Then you get to about 2K and they elevate too far, and they elevate all the way to 5K. And the mids are uneven, they're unbalanced, they're uncohesive, and things are just a little too thin down on the lower end. And then in the uppers, they're way too forward. They're too elevated and they're shouty. And I find that at times you can get moments of sibilance, and it's right at 5K that sibilance comes in, and it's just too much. It has a way too forward of vocal presentations, and some instruments can be more in your face, especially woodwinds and brass instruments will be right in your face, and other instruments like guitars and pianos will sound more hollow. And same thing with vocalists that are in the lower octaves of and have a lower range will sound a little thinner and a little further back in the mix. And then vocalists that have a higher range of octaves will sound more in your face and more forward in the mix. And it's just very uneven. And so if you're listening to mixed groups, like a quartet or a mixed quartet or choirs, it'll sound very uneven, and the voices will kind of be unmatched as far as balance goes. Overall, the mids are okay with tone. Detail, retrieval, and resolution is okay. It just lacks cohesion and balance. Then you get into the presence regions from about 5K to 8K, and where is it? It just disappears. You can even see it if you use graphs. It's very dipped, extremely dipped from 5K to about 8K. And it's just too much. You just lose way too much information there. Details are very lacking. Resolution's very lacking. And there's just not a whole lot of sparkle and energy. And you just lose those bits of decay and those bits of shimmer and glare and edge and crispness that comes with a natural tuning, and it's just gone. It just doesn't exist, and it just makes things sound even more uncohesive and unbalanced, and it definitely makes it sound unnatural. Then you get to about 10K and it just rises. You get this peak and you can hear it. You get these moments of hotness and just ooh, and it'll become very aggressive and very intense at times on some songs. And then from 10K on, it's just too far elevated, and all of the treble, upper treble, and all of the extension that goes on, you get a ton of it. It's just way too elevated, and it's just hot in the upper ends, and it's just very, very sharp and way too edgy, and you get harshness, and it's not pleasant whatsoever in the treble. And I find that to be very much a distraction with the Muse Hifi Power. So overall, I find that through the frequency response, from the bass through the lower parts of the mids to about 2K, it sounds okay. I'm happily pleasant with it, pleased with it. Get from 2K to 5K, and it's just way too elevated, too forward. And then from 5K to 8K, it's recessed. And then from 10K to 20K, it's again way too elevated and super hot. Very uneven. Tone and timbre. It's unnatural. It's not super offensive. It is listenable except for in the upper regions. And that upper region does throw off the tone and timbre of instruments. And it just becomes a very unnatural sound. They sound okay, and you can kind of tell what instrument is what. But at the same time, it's not how it sounds in real life. It just doesn't have a very realistic and accurate tone and timbre. Resolution, it's okay from 2K down. Everything above that, it becomes harsh, and it's just too aggressive, and it's just not a very, it's okay, but it has those moments, and it's just like, oof, ouch. Soundstage wise, the stage is wide. It has a nice wide stage to it. Does a good job of giving you width as far as venues go, and I do enjoy the soundstage. It has a nice openness to it and a wideness to it. It's not the deepest of stages, but it's okay. You can read into the stage for the most part, and you can diagnose the stage as far as things being in front or behind each other. Layering, it does a decent job, doesn't get really confused or muddled up. And imaging is all right. It's not the most precise and accurate soundstage, but it does okay as far as being, it's over in this neighborhood, it's over in this neighborhood. Overall, I don't mind the soundstage. So with the Muse Hifi Power, it's an okay IEM, and especially for being a planar, but it has a lot of competition. I don't mind it, but I don't really like it either. It's just okay, and it has too many flaws that it can't overcome with what it does good. How does it compare to other planar IEMs? And you have the Shure S12s. Now the Shure S12s absolutely smoke the Muse Power. Unfortunately, the S12 is just way better. It has more balance, and it has more transparent sound, has better clarity, way better detail retrieval and resolution, and does extremely better with tone and timbre, and it is a more precise and accurate soundstage. TINHIFI P1 Plus. The TINHIFI P1 Plus also is a improvement on the Muse Hifi Power. The P1 Plus has better detail retrieval resolution, and overall has a more accurate and precise soundstage. Now the Muse Hifi will be a little bit better as far as tone and timbre, and also a little bit better as far as having a little bit more energy and sparkle. But overall, the P1 Plus, because it is more neutral sounding, is the more accurate and true. And then you have the 7 Hz Timeless. Now the 7 Hz Timeless is warmer, more accurate, has better tone and timbre, and is not as elevated and as aggressive in the mids, has a better presence region, does a better job with detail retrieval and resolution, does have a little bit more intimate of a soundstage, but it is more accurate and precise in its placement. Overall, I find that the Muse Hifi Power, it just can't get out of its own way. It has too many things that hold it back. It's a good starting point, but it definitely can be improved upon. Build-wise, cable-wise, and sound-wise. The Muse Hifi Power, it's alright, but it's not something that I like. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription link, notification bell. If you haven't already, please check those off. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. Check out the links down below. There's all kinds of information down there regarding how you can contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel, all kinds of other things down below, like gear recommendations, music recommendations, and all kinds of other things. So check out the links down below. And then don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.